Hi everyone, this is Hope, and I have my May wrap-up and my June TBR. Well, May went by really quickly, which is weird because it went by quickly, but it's a longer month, and I read more books in this month than I read in any months, so I'm really proud of myself for that. The first 10 days of May were really rough because I was studying for an AP test, and I got through one book in those 10 days, along with my AP book. But that one book that I got through was Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell, and I just learned that her last name is pronounced Rowell instead of Rowell. So anyway, this book is a super cute, fun contemporary read, and it's about this girl named Kath who loves fan fiction, and she writes fan fiction for this one series called Simon Snow. She doesn't tell a lot of people about it at the college that she's going. She just doesn't want to let a lot of people into her life until she meets Levi, who is her roommate's best friend, and they have a romance. It's just really cute. And also, I really liked how bits of the actual Simon Snow story and Kath's fan fiction were inserted into this novel. And I know that Rainbow Rowell is coming out with Kath's actual fan fiction for the series in this book. So it's just awesome. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It's a good book. The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. This book was a very short read. I read it in 2 days, and wow, it's very poignant, and I think it's kind of like a modern day Catcher in the Rye, except the main character in this, Charlie, is a lot nicer than Holden Caulfield, because if you've read Catcher in the Rye, you know that Holden Caulfield is super annoying because he just complains about everything, but then again, that's how his character is supposed to be. So yeah, Charlie's just a lot more caring, and that almost makes it more sad because it's just, wow, it's a really good short read, and it's very meaningful. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett. It's a kid's classic book. If you haven't heard of this, then I don't know. It's a classic, and at times it was kind of boring, but then again, it had this kind of magical realism feel to it, even though there was no magic in this book. But it's just a great story about how when a kid gets a friend, they're gonna be so much more happier and so much more lively and imaginative. And it really took me back to my elementary years when I would play with my friends and make up all these magical stories. It provoked a lot of nostalgia in me. Okay, the next book I read in May, I actually don't have to show you because my friend is borrowing it right now, and that is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. I also learned that her last name is pronounced Mass and not Moss. So anyway, yeah, my friend read it in 2 days, and she absolutely loved it, and we've been raving about it, and we've been theorizing about the ending, and I can't say it, but if you want to hear some of my thoughts on the book, I'll link my discussion video down below. But anyway, A Court of Thorns and Roses is about a girl named Feyre who lives in this world where fairies and humans both live, but the fairies live in a separate area than the humans, and basically Feyre kills a fairy that she doesn't know is a fairy because it's really a wolf in disguise. It's crazy. But then she gets taken to Prithian, which is the fairy side of the continent, and basically she thinks that all fairies are horrible, domineering people, and she learns that they're not. And, she meets Tamlin, and they have this romance, and it's just amazing. And I gave that book 5 out of 5 stars because it was just so good. It was probably the best book I read in 2015, or at least in the top 3. It was so good. It Takes a Fool, A Tough Lesson Learned on Bullying by Sasha Dreams. This is a very short memoir, and I won this off of Goodreads, I think. Before I read this book, I thought it was going to be the story of a girl who got bullied, but it was actually the story of a girl who bullied another girl. It's just so poignant, and this author, she really describes her bullying like without excuses. She doesn't give like an excuse, like, oh, well, I had a very horrible home life, that's why I bullied this girl. Like, the author did have a horrible home life, but she doesn't use that as an excuse as to why she bullied the girl. I recommend that you take the time to read this. It's really short. So the next book I read was To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee, and I actually tabbed this book because there were some great quotes. And this was the first time that I read this book, and wow, if you don't know what this book is about, it's a classic novel, and it is about these two kids who are growing up in southern Alabama. It takes place in the 1930s-ish, 1930s, 1940s. It deals with so many different topics, ranging from racism to gender roles to societal norms, and it just touches base on all those topics in a way that really makes you think about, like, why do these things occur in society? I mean, they occurred then, they're occurring now, but why? Why did people feel the need to encourage them? And it's just a really great book, and I really grew attached to the characters. Atticus Finch, I loved Atticus Finch. I loved Miss Maudie. Scout was a fantastic narrator. I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. Since You've Been Gone by Morgan Matson, and this is the first Morgan Matson novel I read, and I tabbed one thing in here because I didn't want to like tab a lot of things, but there was one quote that I just really liked. So this book is about a girl named Emily whose best friend Sloane just disappears for the summer, and she doesn't know where she is, but then Sloane sends her like this list of 13 things, and it's a list of all of the things that would push Emily out of her comfort zone, and Sloane obviously wants Emily to do all these things this summer. So Emily is very tentative about this list because she's definitely the more shy of the two friends and the less risk-taking. Yeah, there's just so many great things in this book. There's character development, there's a great romance. Like, the boy in this book, Frank Porter, he is my new book boyfriend. He's just so great, and he's such a good boyfriend. I would just love if there was an actual Frank Porter in my life. Yeah, I loved the character development in this. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. I probably would have given it 5 out of 5 stars if more like action happened in the beginning. But, you know, the first half of the book was just, it was a little bit more slow, and then you get to the second half, and then you feel things, and you cry a little, and, you know, it was still really good. I would highly recommend this if you're looking for a cute contemporary summer read. The last book that I read this month was actually a reread, and I reread The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins, and I actually just finished rereading it like 10 minutes ago. I definitely think that reading this when I was 12 was a lot different than reading it when I'm 16. It's different, and I definitely appreciated it more now than before. When I was younger, I used to just like speed through books. I would skip over like entire passages so I could get to the climax. And now, as I've grown as a reader and developed better reading skills, I don't do that, and I pick up on, you know, foreshadowing and all that. So yeah, I still love this book, still would give it 5 stars. So now on to my June TBR. So the first series I'm going to be reading in June, well actually rereading, is the Harry Potter series by J.K. Rowling, and I'm too lazy to bring all of the books up here. But yeah, I'm going to start with the first book today, actually, and I'm just so excited. I have not read this series for 4 years. I started it when I was like 11, and I finished it when I was 12, and I just really, really miss it, and I'm so glad to be rereading it. I just need some Harry Potter in my life again. So that'll probably take up the first 2 weeks of June. The next 2 weeks of June is kind of just arbitrary. I don't really know what I'm gonna read, but I have a couple of books in mind I for sure want to get to this month. So, I have Looking for Alaska by John Green, and I have not read this yet. I can't believe it because everyone just raves about it, and a lot of people say that this is his best novel. So, this book is about a boy who I don't really know what it's about. I know that it's a boy who like meets a girl and it's about a romance and then like things happen and there's a before and after and I might cry. I don't know. Then the next book I'm going to read is The Maze Runner by James Dashner. And this book is about a boy who is launched into a maze and he doesn't have any idea why. He doesn't remember anything about himself or how he got to this maze. Or I think he does remember his name, but that's it. He meets all these other people in the maze and they're all trying to figure out how to get out too. And I've heard that it's just a crazy, amazingly good read. Everything else, I don't really know what I'm going to read. There's definitely going to be a lot more than just that, but it's just up in the air right now. So, I'm going to do my TBR challenge now. So, let's do this. Oh god. I'm afraid it's going to be one I already got. Okay. Read a book published this year. Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. And I know that my friend will be very excited that I'm reading this because she raved about this book. I know that it's about a girl who has red blood in a world where there are silver bloods and red bloods are the lesser of the two bloods, and the silver bloods have all these amazing powers. They can do all these different things. And then this girl, who is supposedly a lowly red blood, discovers that she has some of the same powers as the silver bloods, and actually she has a power that's even better than a silver blood power. So that was my May wrap-up and June TBR. So yeah, I'll see you in my next video. Bye!